Modern Warfare might be the worst Call of Duty map-wise in the past few years, but that's not to say that every map in the game is bad, and there's actually quite a few good maps that I think people overlook and just generalize the game by saying that everything is bad. I'm going to be ranking every single map today from launch all the way to current day. This is right before Season 5, so if they add more than 1 or 2 maps, I will do an updated version after Season 5. And I want to get right into this, but first things first, this is just all my personal opinions, so you can disagree, that is fine. Just leave a comment and let me know what you would change, but try not to hate me too much for my opinion on maps. So let's get started right away. Coming in all the way at number 21 is Etheride's Bridge, which I might have even said wrong, but I don't care because I hate this map so much. Now, if you played this game at launch or anywhere in the first about 2 months of this game, you hated this map like crazy. You would just be playing regular team deathmatch, find this game, and you'd finish the game with maybe like 8 or 9 kills as the kill leader. I don't know how to describe this map other than it feels like it's from a campaign mission in all the worst ways. There's so much open space, no flow. The bridge in the middle is absolutely terrible. You can not kill anyone if you're on the ground pretty much. All the little buildings and stuff on the one side of the map make it very slow paced, and like I said, the map is huge anyway, so it didn't need anything else slowing it down. Like I said, I don't think every map needs to be a 3-lane map, but there does need to be some idea of the flow, and this one has none. Coming in at number 20, we have Anya Incursion and Anya Palace. I do not care that they made the map smaller to put it in the regular core modes. It is still a god awful map. Once again, this just feels like a mess of a map with really no flow. While there is more of like a lane system, it is super slow. Incursion is terribly so, but Palace still doesn't feel right. The objectives on this mode just make no sense and completely slow down the pace of the game. And this is just another map where you can run around and just not see anybody, doing 2 full laps around the entire map. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Moving on to the next. Number 19, we have Piccadilly, which is pretty much became the meme map of this game. Everybody thinks of this map when they think of the worst ones, and almost everyone backs out of it immediately. And honestly, I think this map's biggest issue is just how awkward it is. It can't decide if it wants to just be a big and open map or just really convoluted with tight narrow lanes with the buses in the middle, and all the buildings on the 4 corners really make this map impossible to play. And while like I said, there are some areas of the map that seem like they're more locked off, separate from the rest of the map, you can pretty much die from anywhere on this map. If there's people upstairs in any of the buildings, you are not safe. This map is just super boring. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. And I think the concept of the map is cool. It's a cool location for a map, but the execution just did not work at all. Going on to number 18, we have Grazna Raid. This map is like DayZ enters COD. It is just an absolute mess. I hate to keep bringing up the point with the flow, but that is a huge thing for COD maps, and that's the biggest issue with the maps that are on this lower end of the list. This area really seems like it should be somewhere in Warzone. It is stupidly big. The lanes in the middle of this map are insanely long, and you cannot get across these without being shot down by someone mounted with a Grau or an LMG, or just picked off by a sniper. Like I said, I actually think this would be a really good Warzone area, but for multiplayer, and especially 5v5 or 6v6, it is way too slow. And as you're walking around the map for 15 minutes trying to find one person, like I said, if you're crossing a road, you're gonna get killed by a million different people just mounted on little window ledges, just beaming you down that don't move all game. Number 16 is Ramaza, and honestly, I could have put this one way lower. I despise this map, and honestly, most of it might be in my head, because when I actually play it, it's definitely not my favorite, and it's another one of those maps that's just awkwardly big and laid out. And the whole upstairs building in the construction area is just kind of misplaced. I feel like it adds nothing to the map, and there's almost never any action there. So it's just a huge waste of space that just makes the map have a bunch of empty and no conflict areas. Now, while this is higher than other maps on the list, I'm probably more likely to back out of this unless it's anything other than like Hardpoint maybe. At 17, we have Azir Cave, and honestly, this map is just so annoying, and it's so sad because it had such potential. I actually think the town part of this map is pretty good and has some solid encounters that you can come into, but the cave part, which I realize Azir Cave is literally the name of the map, but that part is just terrible for me and completely ruins the map. Like I said, it's kind of sad because I feel like if that cave just wasn't there and it was just Azir Town, or I don't know, Azir something else, it would be a pretty cool map and be a very fun, fast-paced map and have some, some buildings for the people who want to play slower. I think it would have been balanced, but the cave is really just a terrible place. And moving on to number 16, Atlas Superstore. another map that just suffers from the super long lanes in the middle of the map. While it does have some good areas, and I think this is an okay map, it's definitely not as bad as some of the ones above, and I will play this map. It just falls into the issue that so many maps in this game have of just way too much open space and not enough tight corners for close cut action. It's just a camper's dream right here. But the map does have some solid things, and domination on this is actually really fun. The B flag can get super intense, so I do like dom on this. But in general, it's just way too slow paced. And another map, as though it's way smaller than some of the other maps that I've complained about the same thing, it still has the issue of just running around sometimes, not finding anybody, unless you're playing 10v10. Then it's pretty decent. Arklov Peak is coming in at number 14. Do you want me to sound like a broken record? Because I'm going to. Super long lanes in the middle and upstairs windows. This is the repeating issue with this game. Why are there so many upstairs windows? Why can everybody just mount there and beam you down? If you don't go through the middle, the other side of the map, once again, super long lanes that you are barely going to be able to get even halfway through. It's either you're going to be getting sniped down, or you're going to run into like one kid on the sides of the map and then nobody else, because everybody just bunkers down in the houses on this. Also, I just want to say, I swear I like some maps on this game. I'm just getting these really bad ones out of the way right now. 13, this is going to be a controversial opinion here. I have Rust. Now, don't get me wrong. Rust in gunfight, fun. Rust in MW2, fun. On this game, it is the worst thing I've ever experienced. I hate it so much. And while I've been complaining about running around and not finding anybody, I had to put Rust up higher than those maps because at least I do get action on this map. But with how the playstyle of this game is, it does not work as well as it did on MW2. And I wasn't even crazy about it on MW2. It was more just that fun 1v1 map. It was great for that. In general though, for like regular game modes, it is not my favorite. And since there's no point in leveling up in this game, nobody cares about the objective. So even though you're on a super small map, people are likely to lock down either the pipe or the antenna station and just sit there. Once again, deployable cover, mount. And it's really, like I said, just how people play this game. If you get one team that can get up top and your teammates are not exactly capable of killing people up top, which happens quite a lot, you're in for a bad time. It is so easy, A, to either spawn trap or get spawn trapped on this map, which makes it a really hot or cold map for me. But in general, I just don't enjoy Rust. 12, we have St. Petrograd. I think this is a pretty decent map. We're getting into maps that I don't hate as much. I'm going to say the same thing over and over again. It has one super long lane, but it is broken up a little bit better with some buses and stuff, and it does it way better than Piccadilly, for example. And while that is an annoying long lane for snipers and stuff, it's easy enough if you're just a smart player to avoid and make your way through the map. I do have the problem, once again, with middle of the map buildings that you can have upstairs in, but in this map it's not that bad because the buildings are so close together, so it's not like it's a huge area and it's easy enough to get across or shoot them down with an SMG or AR if they're hiding upstairs in the windows. So overall, this is kind of the first map that I'm putting in the decent tier here, and I definitely don't mind it. And once again, Dom and Hardpoint can be pretty fun on this, but Team Deathmatch for most of these maps is just way too slow in this game. Coming in at number 11, we have Hovik Sawmill. I actually really enjoyed this map when it came out. It's honestly pretty hard for me to find when I'm just searching regularly on this game, but when there was the 24/7 playlist or drop zone I found a lot in, I really enjoyed this map for drop zone and game modes like that. And it's a map that once again has the upstairs with windows where you can mount and look down at the middle of the map, but the side lanes of this map are a bit broken up, a little bit better. It's open but not completely impossible to run across. And I think it has a pretty decent flow, this map. For once in this list, I think a map has a good flow, because although it's not quite the classic 3-lane map, it is pretty close to it. Coming in at number 10, we have Crash. I know a lot of people might disagree with me, maybe some agree with me and even would have it lower, but I love this on classic Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered. One of my favorite maps in that game. But on this game, the playstyle just doesn't suit it. The different doors and the little new area they added is just another mount. The way that people play this game does not fit a lot of the Modern Warfare maps that they brought back. Sadly, although they are better than most of the base maps in this game, still just don't feel the same as a classic, because you run into a lot of people just camping in one of the buildings with doors closed, claymores, everything like that, and it ends up being very slow paced, even though this used to be very intense. So I really wish I could put this one higher, but it just doesn't play as well as it should. Coming in at number 9, we have Backlot. Now, this is another map that is obviously brought back, and I think this one works slightly better than Crash. Now, they did add, their doors and stuff like that, but I don't think it really changes the flow of this map too bad, and it just pretty much plays similar to the old Backlot, and I really like that they kept it very, very similar. And although it's a pretty big map in comparison to this game, it's smaller, but in general for COD, it's on the bigger side. It still has a lot of action, and high kill games can happen on this, so I do really enjoy playing this. And like I said, with every map in this game, you pretty much need an objective game mode, but when you play objective on it, it's a fun game. At number 8, we have Hard Hat, which right up there with Backlot, I believe stayed the most true to the original map. And like I said, this game just plays slower than past COD, so it's not as intense, and like the tunnel is not an insane feed place like it used to be. But this is still a pretty good map and a pretty good rendition of the original Hard Hat. And it really has that perfect balance for the people who want to play slower and the people who want to rush. It's just kind of that perfect size map. Obviously, you can get some slower games on this, but like I said, that's just kind of how this game works. You're just going to get a lot of slower games, so I put this one definitely up there. Number 8, just kind of right there, a little above the decent tier. And I definitely wish they took this route of being very faithful to the original version of the map with maps like Crash, because although it was only minor changes, it really changes the map a lot. Number 7, we have Vacant. Once again, there's some slight changes, but it still plays pretty close to the classic Vacant. This is another map that I have trouble finding in the quick play filter. It is like impossible, besides when they first brought this map in and it was in the playlist. I do wish I could play it more, but it is a pretty good map, and it plays pretty similar to the original, which was an absolute classic, so it's got to be up here on this list. Kander Hideout comes out at number 6. This map, when they brought it out, kind of saved the game for me because it was just something else that was a smaller and faster paced map. Although, like I said, it's not small, it's not Nuketown like a Black Ops thing or anything like that. It's a decent sized map. The middle of the map is wide open, but the sides and the buildings and the little courtyard do give you some opportunity to maneuver around the map pretty well. And I actually think the B-flag building is pretty solid. There's not too many insane vantage points from upstairs there, and although you get some people locking it down, it's pretty easy to just catch them off guard climbing in a different window or going up the steps. So Kander Hideout gets number 6, pretty solid map. At number 5, we have Gunrunner. This is probably the favorite big map in this game for me. It is just perfectly cut up in my opinion, and I like the side with the trains. It is just a very solid map. Honestly, it's not too amazing, but there's really nothing bad about it, so that's why I got a pretty high placement on this list. And at the beginning of this game, before there was some of the other maps that are going to be higher on this list, it was definitely one of my favorites. So just an overall solid map. Coming in at number 4, we have Hackney Yard. Now this is definitely the best default map that was in this game. Now, as you can tell, I keep repeating a lot of the same points, but it's kind of what I idealize in a map, and I just like the flow of this one. Like I said, the middle is open, but not too open, with the crates and stuff breaking up a little bit. The buildings don't have too much of an advantage looking down in the middle of the map, although they can get some looks into the spawn. It's not really that big of an issue, and I just think this map works pretty well, and definitely the best default map in this game. Number 3 is Shipment, which some people might have number 1, and some people might have all the way back at 21. People either love or hate Shipment, and honestly, I love Shipment, and it is 90% of what I play if there's a Shipment playlist in this game. But if I'm actually looking at the map objectively, I cannot put it at number 1. But this is exactly what this game needs. It breaks up the monotonous flow of the regular quick play, and you just get some high action. Honestly, sometimes all you need on this game is just the ability to know that you can get those 80, 90, 100 kill gameplays, because on pretty much every other map and mode, it is virtually impossible. So Shipment definitely holds a special place in my heart on this game, especially because it's just such a nice, refreshing change of pace, especially if there hasn't been a playlist with it in for a while and then it comes in. It is just the most refreshing thing ever. Our number 2 spot is Shoe House. This map, when it released, all I played was Shoe House 24/7 every day. I feel like now the more I've played this map over and over, it gets a little old, but it is still a great map and definitely one of the best maps they have built in this game, obviously, since I put it at number 2. Now this is an example of how you can have the perfect flow of, you can have those super long ranges for the snipers and people mounting and all that, but you can also have some areas where it's a little bit more confined and close range, and it really gives you with that. If you just avoid the middle alleyway, you're pretty much fine. You get some people camping up in the office, but it's not that often unless you're in team defender. And the flow of this map is just really nice. You can get some nice gameplays, nothing insane, but you can get some nice pace. You're never bored and just running around in circles. You'll always find enough people. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but Cheshire Park is the number 1 map in Modern Warfare. Now, the only negative I have about it is the buildings where you can camp and go upstairs in. This is a common theme. I do not like the upstairs buildings, but they don't seem to be that much of an issue, and it's easy enough to get back there and come up behind them, get some easy assassinations, and stop them from camping up there. This is the perfect hybrid of a Modern Warfare map and more of a Treyarch map. Well, I guess I should say Infinity Ward Treyarch map. It is pretty classic 3-lane with some of the Modern Warfare aspects, built into it, like I said, with some of the buildings and stuff. But the flow is perfect on this. It feels like classic Call of Duty. The middle is always action packed and you're just running into people at all times. Just a fun map. Looks great, plays great, and I wish they added more maps like this. Hopefully in Season 5 they continue on this path, because this is the right direction for the maps in this game. So I'm sure we're going to disagree, so maybe just give me your least favorite and then your top 3 favorite maps, because obviously the whole list would be a lot, but if you want to do that, go ahead, list all 21. And I will definitely be ranking more Modern Warfare stuff in the future, so make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. The like really helps this video get out to more people and lets YouTube know it's not a completely garbage video. So if you didn't think it's completely garbage, leave a like and I'll see you guys in the next one.